Shalom. That means peace. I'm PAC Lawton, and this is PAC Reacts. You've seen the title. I don't know if you've seen the reports on the recent attacks in Nigeria by the United States government, but I just found it yesterday, the story on that, and I didn't have time to bring it yesterday. I'm not going to do a whole lot of introduction. We'll talk about it as we get into it. And here we go. Let's see. I don't need to share this screen. Sorry, you guys. Share screen. Expand that. And here we go. Let's see what they're talking about.
We have a major breaking news from Nigeria. That same topic we've been talking about in the last month, that we wished and hoped never happened, had happened. Donald Trump just announced in the last couple of hours that strikes had been launched on the northern Nigeria, the northwestern part of the north. He claimed these were strikes on ISIS had been in Nigerian Christians. He gave that authorization for the strike to belong to northwest Nigeria on today, a very small operation, but further strikes and further attacks would follow if these attacks on Nigerian Christians in the north continues.
Hey, sitting here watching this Nigerian guy with this Christmas shirt on is blowing me. I did not know Nigerians celebrated Christmas. So paganism then infected everybody, but they did get colonized by the British. Hey, a lot of y'all Africans and Nigerians need to turn down on y'all talk about us in the United States being enslaved and all of the European influence, because we over here getting stuff forced on us. Y'all over there, I don't know what colonization was like, how much it resembles slavery, but I don't even celebrate that bullshit no more, and I'm in the United States. So what's wrong with him?
Ladies and gentlemen, we talked about this every single time, and I make a lot of videos about this. It had started, and it never going to stop. I don't know the level of damage or the kind of strike that was launched by the United States on the northern part of Nigeria, but unfortunately, I was on the live stream when those details came through. I didn't check on time. I'll take my time now to have a look, see what happened, and I will give you guys a good update. But right now, that is all I can tell you. Strikes have been launched by the United States on Nigeria, the northwestern part of the northern Nigeria. It has begun. Let's wait and see what we find out. And why on the Christmas day? That is the question. That is what I don't seem to understand. But let's wait and see.
It's a wicked ass
I don't
day.
want to say too much right now because I don't know. There might be a reason why those strikes were called. I don't know what they found out. Maybe perhaps these so-called ISIS and Boko Haram or these terrorist groups were planning to launch attacks on Christians again. Maybe, I don't know. So let's just keep our finger crossed and see what we get. I'll come back here and update you guys.
Nigeria is the latest country US President Donald Trump has threatened to bomb.
It will be fast, vicious, and sweet.
Military action to protect the country's Christians.
If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria. We're going to do things to Nigeria that Nigeria is not going to be happy about, and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns are blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible, horrible atrocities.
So
if Nigeria is disgraced because some allegedly Muslims have disgraced their country by slaughtering over 50,000 Christians, then what is the United States? And what if Nigeria or another country just decided that they was going to come over here and start dropping bombs because we've had terrorist attacks in the United States? Terrorist attacks by the police, terrorist attacks by citizens, terrorist attacks by the very groups you claim, alleged, that are doing attacks in Africa. Right? Y'all haven't done anything to stop terrorism in the fucking United States. So what are we really talking about? They lying. They lying. They are fucking lying. Gonna go in there, guns a blazing, huh? Yeah. And it's not about what they say it's about. It's another ulterior motive behind it. And it needs to be brought to the light. It needs to be brought to the light. If you believe anything the U.S. government is saying without checking it, just stop, just believe what they say. You got to be a damn fool.
Direct warning there. The Trump administration's also listed Nigeria as a country of particular concern, which is basically a designation for countries that are seriously violating religious freedoms. And Trump's not alone in his assertions.
There is no country on earth where Christians are more persecuted than Nigeria. Since 2009, more than 50,000 Christians have been murdered by Boko Haram and radical Islamic extremists. More than 20,000 churches and schools have been burned to the ground.
There's no doubt Christians are being persecuted in Nigeria. They're openly targeted by groups like Boko Haram, Al-Qaeda, and Islamic State. But have 50,000 Christians been murdered in the last 16 years? While there absolutely have been high-profile violent attacks on Christians, it's unlikely 50,000 of them have been murdered because of their religion.
Peace and blessings, Shabbat shalom and shalom. Fair use, of course, fair use. Hey, family, hopefully everybody's doing well. Hopefully you're ready for your Shabbat to have a great.
Fair use here too. I do not own the rights to this material. This is being brought to you by Benaya Israel YouTube channel. So shouts out to them. They did all of the work. I can't take credit for it. I'm just reacting to it. For those of y'all who might not be fortunate enough to see it.
Shabbat. But family, let me tell you, there is a lot of stuff going on, especially in Nigeria. I'm sure you all have heard the, big shout out to Peace and Blessings, my cousin Majors. And definitely, hey, cuz, if you could please just send me your the name of your book again.
I think I'm gonna try another deal. Let me try this right here. No, that ain't working. What about this one? That one ain't working either. Oh, they hate. They hate him. They hate him. That's all right. Let's get back to it.
Just want to let family know about your book. I totally forgot about that earlier, Bishop. But yeah, if you could please just send it over or just drop it in the chat, and I'll talk about it. But hey, peace and blessings, and big shalom to Ema Cassandra. Hopefully you're doing well, and everyone else that's in the chat as well. But hey, family, we actually have it's a double. You're going to get double for your viewing pleasure today. Just trying to get my words straight. And yes, we're going to talk about Africa. Yes, we're going to talk about this strike, which is.
We're not going to drag it out. That's what we're not going to do. So I'm sorry, with all due respect. Let me go a little further. See. Yeah, we about right where it started at. Where it really started at.
See this. Let's do this. I'm going to share. And let's see, because of their religion. All right. Bear with me just for a second, family. So I'm going to pull this out.
What are they talking about? What the hell are they talking about?
EVE Online is a vast universe.
EVE Online is some bullshit. Okay, if I'm going to be broadcasting.
Move that from stage at the stage. Okay, here we go. All right, so what you are looking at a map of Nigeria. And I pulled up this location called Sokoto. And this is supposedly where the attack that the U.S. attacked in Nigeria. So they took off from down here in Accra. And Accra is in your Bible. And then they went from Accra.
Hold on. It don't even look like that's close to a major city. Is that the desert? Is they out in the desert? Because you see Lagos is all the way down by the water. That's the capital. The city in the middle of Nigeria, right where it says Nigeria, is a big city. Man, they look like they way out in the desert or the bush or something.
Well, let me just clarify. It is the name of a person in your Bible. And the thing about us are.
Did y'all hear what he said? That or did I go past it? Check it out though. The jets that launched the missiles or dropped the bombs or however they did it, they took off from Accra, Ghana. Now, what type of coonery is going on in Ghana that would allow such thing to be true? I don't want to say that their government is corrupt or involved in it, but that don't look good, right? And then what's even worse, the city that they launched from in Ghana is called Accra. That's a name in the Bible. That's an Israelite name. So the people in Accra, Ghana, or Accra, Ghana, named it that because those are most likely scattered Israelites from the kingdom of Judea.
Brothers and sisters, when they came out of Israel, they took their names with them. So it's kind of easy to track or trace wherever they spent some time, because you'll see those names. They name the places where they stayed, after their ancestors. So that's where Accra comes from, supposedly. But in any case, the jets that the U.S. used to bomb Nigeria, they left from Accra, and then went all the way up here. They bypassed Lagos. They bypassed all these other places.
Some niggas somewhere
and they went all the way up here to this one little spot, and where hardly any Christians were, and they bombed it. All right. And so far, because normally you could find some stuff on TikTok and X as far as like videos and stuff. I was only able to find a handful of videos, and it wasn't a whole lot of damage.
Did y'all hear what he said? He said, well, only a handful of Christians are even up there. It looked like only a handful of life is up there. There's probably more animals than humans. A handful of Christians up there, but y'all bombing up there claiming all these Christians is getting killed.
It's like these tribes that were off in the bush, living in straw houses that they bombed. What do they have to do with anything? I see somebody says right on the border of Mali. Uh-oh, somebody's cooking already. Somebody's cooking already. But let's just read a little bit about this. I want to show you a few things, family. So one thing is I want to show you that the people that are behind all this are one and the same people. Either this stuff is going to track or trace back to Germany, or it's going to trace or track back to Israel. Ashkenazi, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. That is my opinion.
Those are the same people.
And to that end, this attack.
The Germans are the Ashkenazis. I know the Ashkenazis want you to believe that they are Semitic, and then anybody who speaks against their culture or questions anything that they say or do, they want to label them as anti-Semitic. But I'm Semitic by blood, so I can't be anti-Semitic. So that shit ain't gonna work with me, right? But they are from around up in Georgia, Russia, Germany, Poland, all that, where Russia and Germany meet the border, right up in there. It used to be a country called, there's a country called Georgia now. It used to be called Khazaria, right? That's who they are. A lot of them in Germany. But they are not the bloodline descendants of the Jews from antiquity in the Bible. They are not. They're converts, right? So it's no coincidence that the people in Germany, the name Germany, Nazi is associated with Germany, and then their names is Ashkenazi. That's not a coincidence.
Act was carried out by AFRICOM. So AFRICOM is the entity that controls the military, the European military, over in this area. Well, where's AFRICOM from? Well, let's look at it. AFRICOM is from, let me see, did I pull this up? You can see AFRICOM, hopefully you can see it here. Headquarters in Stuttgart, Germany. So AFRICOM is the headquarters of AFRICOM, where they were directing these attacks from, came from Germany. Like I said before, when you look at some of these attacks, family, it's either going to come from.
That's not a coincidence, because the people in Israel posing as the children of God are Germans to a certain extent, right? And those people are attacking the real children of God, whose identity they're stealing. That's a cold ass game right there.
Germany, or it's going to come from the 1948ers, in my opinion. All right. And then, things get a little, I'm not the only one that thinks that these attacks are suspicious. Of course, you can go to Al Jazeera, which you see on the screen, and this is the name of the article. Trump says the U.S. launched strikes against ISIL in the northwest Nigeria. And it says the United States says that it has carried out an airstrike against ISIS fighters in northwest Nigeria that residents say caused buildings to shake and the sky to glow red. And of course, in the Trump's voice, he says, tonight, at my direction, as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched the powerful and deadly strikes against ISIS terrorist scum in the northwest Nigeria. President Donald Trump said in a post on his Truth Social platform on Thursday evening. And then it goes and it says, Trump, who has previously threatened greater U.S. intervention in Nigeria over dubious claims that a genocide of Christians is taking place here in ISIS fighters have been viciously killing and targeting Christians at levels unseen in centuries. And it says, I have previously warned these terrorists that if they do not stop the slaughtering of Christians, they would be hell to pay. And tonight there was. And this is, of course, Trump confirming that the U.S. launched an attack against Nigeria, the northwest part of Nigeria. And it goes on to say the U.S. Military African Command, or AFRICOM, which is responsible for operations in Africa, said in an ex-post that the airstrike was carried out at the request of the Nigerian authorities. But oddly enough, the Nigerian authorities didn't have anything to say shortly after the attack, until after the attack occurred, and Trump mentioned that the attack occurred.
Hold on. He said it was made at the request of the Nigerian authorities, but Trump was accusing the Nigerian authorities of allowing it to happen. So if they requested y'all to come over there and for it to happen, then what is all of these threats talking about what y'all gonna do in Nigeria? Lies, man. They tell so many lies they can't even keep up with them.
But anyway, it says, and had killed multiple ISIS terrorists. Residents of Jabo have said that the airstrikes, or that the strikes, cause alarm, and that their village has never experienced an attack by ISIL. And it goes on and says,
they said they ain't never been attacked by ISIL. Also referred to as ISIS. I don't know if that's an arm of ISIS or what.
As it approached our area, the heat became intense. Abubakar Sani, who lives just a few houses from the scene of the explosion, told the news service Associated Press, our rooms began to shake and then the fire broke out. He said, Nigerian government should take appropriate measures to protect us as citizens. We have never experienced anything like this before. All right. Well, you get the idea. So bombs dropped in this suspicious place over in northwest Nigeria. And like I said, you might be thinking, what in the world does this have to do with me? What in the world does this have to do with Israel? Well, one of the things we want to show you, and to answer this question, family, we're going to go to a couple of websites. One is what you can see on the screen. This is called raremaps.com. This is raremaps.com. And let's see if we can see where I'm looking at. What we're looking at is West Africa. So you go to raremaps.com, you click on Africa, then you go down to West Africa. They have, as you can see on the screen, 118 maps of West Africa. Now, the only thing that I did, so once I got to this map, I sorted the maps by date. So I put the oldest map at the top and the newest map at the bottom. So all we're going to do is that we're going to scroll. You're going to take a look at these maps at the top, and we're going to scroll down to the bottom. All right. So now, the backdrop of this, is family. You have to keep in mind, the whole thing about Spain and Portugal. So we know with Spain and Portugal, if
let's cut to the chase. This is getting drawn out a little bit. So what he's going to do is go back and find all of these maps to show that the place in the area that they bombed was once called the Kingdom of Judah. It was once called Ludea, which translates to Judea, and that the names have been changed, but basically that the people in these areas are descendants of the 12 tribes by way of Judah, exiled from Spain after the Spanish Inquisition and Portugal. Why were they in Spain and Portugal? Because the Moors invaded Spain and Portugal.
If you're familiar with this channel and the content, you know that there were a lot of Israelites over in Spain and Portugal, and starting in 1942, early 1500s, they were expelled, and it occurred over time via the Inquisition. From the 1500s all the way up through the 1700s and even 1800s. they kept fleeing out of that place, fleeing from persecution. And one of the places, or one of the major places that they fled to, was Africa. So when they came into Africa, so post 1942, I said 1942, 1492, forgive me, 1492, I didn't mean 1942, I mean 1492. So 1492, when the Israelites, the tribe of Judah, came into Africa in great numbers, and that's one thing that these references say over and over again. You know, they came into Africa in great numbers. A couple of things changed. So, and we can actually see the change reflected in the map, because I know so far.
He said that Africans from the tribe of Judah came in great number.
When it comes to some of these old maps, we've showed you old maps that have the kingdom of Judah on those old maps. But in those old maps, the kingdom of Judah typically shows up right around in those maps in the 1700s, right? So whenever you see those, like even in my book, Black History Case Files, Buried Heritage, I have some pictures of the kingdom of Judah, of the map of the kingdom of Judah. But the pictures of those maps come from the 1700s. So the question is, what happened before the 1700s, right? So here we are, and to answer this question and some others, we're going to go through these maps. All right, so here we are. We're looking at a map which is 1513. Hopefully you can see it on the screen, 1513. So we're just going to click on it, and I'm going to expand it so you can see it. All right, so here's the West Africa, as you can see. And you'll see things like Ethiopia, Libya, interior, right? And these are just the places where, you know, the Europeans or, you know, these Arab explorers knew about. And of course, I saw somebody put the Mali Empire in there, but, you know, we don't necessarily have in these old maps the Mali Empire identified. And Mali Empire actually goes like from the far west over here all the way over to here. I think I have a map of the Songhai. Yeah, I got a map of the Songhai Empire too, which is this guy right here. Songhai Empire is a little bit condensed, more condensed than Mali, but still, you know, you can see it's pretty wide, right? It kind of goes all the way over, almost all the way over to the coast.
I'm gonna skip past this and get to the meat of it, right? Because this video is too long.
Judah will eventually show up in the.
Teenagers are building businesses with AI, while the only AI you know is ChatGPT.
Let's be real. Most people over 40 use ChatGPT.
Up in these maps. Israelites get kicked out of Portugal, Spain, and a little bit later we have this place called the Mina de Portugal. That's interesting. But let's keep going. All right, so let's go to our next map. So that was from 1565, right, family? And so this map right here doesn't have a whole lot of details in the interior. You can see the coast right here. So I don't think that's going to do us any good, because that is the coast. Just to click on it, just to show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, it just shows the coast. It doesn't show the interior. So that's not going to help us to figuring out this place that's in the interior. And this one doesn't really have a whole lot of information on the interior, I don't think. Yep, because it calls it Genoa. So the maps that I'm seeing these names so far, because the Kingdom of Judah shows up in French maps and English maps. So those are the ones that I'm looking for the most part. I will tell you that the German maps, they do not show, at least the ones that I've come across, they do not show the Kingdom of Judah until like the 1800s, like until everybody else already reported it, then they finally stick it on their maps. So again, you know, these German maps are kind of, they act suspicious in my opinion. All right, but let's keep going. So we're going to scroll down. So we were in like around the 1500s. So now we're getting into the 1600s. So now here we are, 1600, 1619. That date should ring a bell. 1619, Jamestown, Virginia. The first folks have a last.
If you don't know 1619, you got some research to do. Some serious research to do. Because that's something that they taught you in school, and they don't teach us the whole truth in school. So that's the part they even told in school. You ain't even got to go be no scholar and do no digging and research to know about 1619.
Name of Negro, that whose surname Negro actually ties back to Spain and Portugal, ties back to the exilarchs or the leaders of the diaspora in Spain and Portugal, but that's a whole different video. But 1619, you know it in your textbooks, family. And we also do know that there were Israelites / Negroes over here in the States before then, but 1619 is the date that we track for other purposes. So 1619, but the question is, so what do we find in, and this is Amsterdam, in the French maps in 1619? Again, the French, they're the ones that will eventually have the Kingdom of Judah in their maps. So
what? Did y'all hear that? In French maps, I think it was later in the 1700s, they began to print maps or produce maps. I don't know if they were printing nothing. Draw maps, write maps that showed that area as the Kingdom of Judah. Now we know that the biblical Judah, the land, was in the Canaan, in the Levant, where Palestine is now, where Israel is now. So they migrated at some point to the slave coast of West Africa.
Who and what is in the place of the Kingdom of Judah in the 1600s? Because it's not going to be there before the 1700s. So let's take a look. All right, so let's zoom in. So it doesn't say Judah right here, because this is Benin, right? This is what eventually will be the slave coast. What will eventually will be the Kingdom of Judah. And right around this area, we saw it was called the Portuguese before, right? It was something of Portugal, of Portuguese before. But now it says Ludeus. That should sound a little bit familiar to your family. Ludeus. What in the world is Ludeus? Well, to translate that, let me show you. Let's go over to Google Translate. All right, so hopefully, again, you can see my screen. So we're over in Google Translate. And so we have this weird map that's has this place called Ludeus. Ludeus. And so what we're going to do is that we're going to translate that, because I just realized that I didn't have my other, actually, when I go to a commercial, I'm going to try to grab my two references to show you how the name has changed over time. Basically, well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but let's do this. Let's translate this first. So we're going to use Hausa, because Hausa is in the territory of, Hausa was in this territory. So the Hausa language, okay. Right? So we're going to use Hausa language that was right here to figure out what in the world,
get down to the nitty gritty,
Ludeus means. And I see Brother Jay's Hostile says Judas. Let's see.
Good guess.
So we're going to type in Ludeya. We're going to leave the S off for now. And as you can see, like Brother Jay Hostile said, Judea. Judea. In Hausa language, Judea is the land of Judah. Judea is the land of Judah. And to prove that, let's go to Judea, just so that you can see. Judea is a historical mountainous region in Levant named after the ancient Israelite
Tribe of Judah.
Tribe of Judah.
Or Yehuda.
So again, family, when we look at this map, before the French called it the Kingdom of Judah, it was called Ludea, which in Hausa means Judea. All right, Judea, which is the land of Judah.
So
this is just to go to show you, family, that
I need to see who the Hausa people are. The Hausa, if they weren't Israelites, then they were most likely some of the indigenous Africans in that area when the Judeans came. When the Jews came. Because for their language to be on the map, then they held some type of sway or influence, or might have been ruling their region.
this predates the kingdom of Judah on those ancient maps. And this also goes to show you that the Israelites were over in that land for a very long time after 1492. Right after 1492, we start to see them over in this area. But maybe that was just a one-off, right? So that was Amsterdam 1619. Let's see if that shows up in any other maps. And to that, let's go over here. And this is one from 1640, Amsterdam. Again, a French map.
Seven treasures tea.
And so here we go. Here we are. We're gonna pull up the French map. Remember that bow I was telling you about? If you go up, Nigeria's on the right. And let's zoom in.
A bit of potion.
Let's go up to
Watermelon.
Here, and you can see it. It's spelled differently. Ludeus with an E. Ludea. Ludeus. Just to go to show you that even in that same territory.
So let's see something. Move a little bit forward. So are y'all getting where I'm going with this? You know, are you catching the point that he's trying to poke you with? They didn't just go up there and attack no Islamic terrorist, according to the people in the region. And the people in the region are Israelites from the tribe of Judah.
It is still called Judea, which in Hausa refers to Judea.
Move forward a little bit.
Loads.
Hey, my name is Jerry Norton, and in the next 30 seconds, I'm going to show you how to make $5,000 to $20,000 flipping houses using this contract.
Screens. Nope, don't want to share that. Downloads. Videos. All right, so let's try it a different way.
Yeah.
Justice Foundation today to expose the shadows and establish a lasting change.
All right. Looks like I got it working. Let's see here.
So he's just going to make some more connections.
Oh, and yeah, hey, Pascal, let me know if you want to hop on.
To the identity and speak the identity of those people.
All right. So looks like let me do one thing, family. Let's bring this off. I'm going to bring this up. And let's do a few things here. Got that in private browsing. All right. So the purpose of me bringing this up, fam, I want to show you about Lamb Lamb, because remember, Lamb Lamb was shown on the screen. And I'm just going to read a little bit.
I'm about to wrap it on up. I skipped past that. Excuse me. So what he did was found later maps that showed after that area was called Ludea. On later maps, it said Lamb Lamb, right? As in the sheep, Lamb. The area was called Lamb Lamb.
Of this to help explain when Lamb Lamb shows up on that map. And again, in various maps, so we have some maps will show the kingdom of Judah being that entire area. Some maps will show the kingdom of Judah being closer to the coast. And in this last map that we were showing, it showed kingdom of Judah closer to the coast, but then it showed Lamb Lamb closer to that spot that we were looking at that before that they were calling Ludea, right? Or closer to the spot that in the, let's see, the maps from the 1500s, and we'll go back and take a look at it, it called it a territory of Portugal or area of Portugal, right in that area. But in any case, here we are, we're looking at Lamb Lamb, and you can see where it says the land of Lamb Lamb. Let me bring back my, there we go. Testing. All right, there we go. All right, the land of Lamb Lamb. It says boundaries. The land of Lamb Lamb is to the south. Let's drop down to inhabitants. It says, according to the accounts of the people of the neighboring countries, the natives of Lamb Lamb are Jews. The natives of Lamb Lamb are Jews. The greater part of them are plunged in ignorance and unbelief. The Negroes who live on the banks of the river, which rises from the mountains to the south of Melili, and people think that Melili is Mali, right? It says, go naked, carry on no trade, have no regard for marriage, nor any sense of what is right. They are the most prolific of men. They are possessed of camels and goats. Their food consists of milk of their goats and camels, the fish that they catch, and dried camel's flesh. The people of the neighboring countries seize upon them at all seasons by various artifices, carry them away to their own country, and sell them in strings to the merchants. So again, the
Lamb Lamb, they take them down to the coast and sell them to the ship merchants. And here we are. Welcome to America.
These are the people that are being taken into slavery. These are the people that are being taken into slavery. And it says, vast numbers of them are brought every year to the further west. Hallelujah. So just wanted to show you that it is recorded by historians that the people of Lamb Lamb are Jews. And not only that, that the people of Lamb Lamb are the ones that are being taken to the west coast of Africa. And let me do a couple of things, fam. I'm going to actually go back over to our webpage. And I'm going to share my screen on this front. And let's see here. Yep, so we'll share this page. And then, because so we were here before, and just to show you, like, this is Lamb Lamb, this is the kingdom of Judah. And I also want to introduce you to another awesome resource, and shout out to Brother Dante Fortson. This is his webpage, Black History in the Bible. It's Black History in the Bible.
Okay.
He has a webpage called, or a page within his webpage called The Kingdom of Judah WIDA Mapping Project. This is an awesome project. And in this project, you can see all these different maps, right? And this one starts in the 1700s. And this is what I was talking about, family, is that starting in the 1700s is when we start to see the Kingdom of Judah. But what I just showed you,
so what we then need to ask ourselves, why are they really attacking them? Who are they really attacking specifically, more specifically? And why? The real reason. You know, it's not completely obvious, but I think it's very questionable whether or not they're really over there attacking Christians the way the U.S. government says happening, to the extent where they need to come over there and provide military aid. I'm not buying it. Are you? All praise to the Most High, peace to the saints. This has been PAC Reacts with the Heart of St. Louis, PAC Lawton. Y'all have a blessed day.